Welcome to our NDC tutorial where we focus on prescription analytics. When you think about storing a patient's information in a graph, there's several different ways you can do that and several different types of information you can include. For this sample, we're going to focus in on medications and allergy information. Here's an example of what a patient information system might look like. So you have your patient information, you have some visit notes. For this sample, we focus on the connection between medications and patients. At this point, you have no idea if this person is actually allergic to this medication. Now, if you had a program that was smarter, that contained a graph like InfiniteGraph with correlations between allergies and medications, we could give you a warning letting you know that this patient is allergic to this medication to avoid prescribing it. With the NDC sample, we take patient information connected to prescription drugs and those ingredients, and we can use this to identify allergies. In order to run this sample, there are two major steps that need to be completed. The first step is populating the graph, and that can be subdivided into ingesting patient data, followed by ingesting the drug data, and then finally assigning random allergies. The next step is to navigate the graph. This is where we can find our allergies. We'll do this in the IG visualizer. Now here we are in Eclipse. We're going to go over how to run this sample. You can see we have the README open, which gives you the instructions on how to do this. First thing we do is stage the patient database. Run that. That is completed. The next thing we need to do is import the patient information. This is randomly generated data. Now we're going to import the product information. Last thing we need to do before we search our graph for allergies is actually generate the patient allergies. And this will take our patient data and our drug data and randomly assign allergies to different patients. Let's look at a specific patient. Here we have the patient with ID number 55506. You can see they have 5 different allergies listed here. In particular, let's look at this gallium allergy. If we expand the graph a little bit further, we can see the gallium allergy down here, and it's linked to a couple different generic drugs. Now that we've focused in on gallium, we can see all the associations between gallium, other generic drugs, and that generic drug's association to other branded drugs. Now let's look at a traversal. We're starting with our patient 55506. They have a known allergy to gallium. If we prescribe them Mettox, we know that Mettox is associated with a specific generic drug. If there's a connection between gallium and this generic drug that is associated to Mettox, that will cause an allergic reaction. If that connection is not there, it's okay to prescribe Mettox because this patient will not have an allergic reaction. Now we will attempt to prescribe a drug to a patient using our visualizer. So don't worry if you see this message, you can go ahead and allow. And then we're going to open up our actual graph here by supplying the boot file. Now we have some indexes that were created. This one is for our patients. We'll go ahead and use that. And now we will enter in an ID number for our patient. And now we have our patient. We select that. And then if we want to add more degrees of separation, we can go ahead and increase. Now we see our patient with their encounters, drug allergies, and ingredients. So now let's run our actual navigation. We're going to select navigators. And then you'll see at the bottom we have our drug name result qualifier. And we need to provide our drug name that we're interested in. And so that's Mettox. And then right click and select navigate from selected. And there we have the result of our navigation. It's starting with the patient. They had an encounter at one point in time where there was a drug allergy. That was to a specific ingredient found in a generic drug that is also included in the drug that we're interested in that they're allergic to. That completes our sample. Thank you for choosing InfiniteGraph.